Here we have a Google Earth picture of the tree, the sycamore, which has been cut down. Can you see it? It's a pity that this beautiful tree has been cut down, but I'm suggesting that it was not cut down by a 16-year-old kid or a 69-year-old man, but it was cut down by the government as part of a psychological warfare experiment on us. This is part of a long-term plan of degrading the public. If you look here, there's a road, and my guess is it would be quite straightforward to bring in a tree cutting machine in the middle of the night after having closed the road or monitored the road to cut this down surreptitiously, and then in the next day they would then launch a story. There might also be a farm or some other here there's a couple of buildings, farms and so on. I mean, obviously it's a pretty isolated area, but there are what's this, Once Brewed, what's that, is that a pub? National Landscape Discovery. So there are some there's a house here. Like I said, I'm not suggesting that any of these properties are involved in this at all, but you know, there's houses here, so there are some buildings here, so it could be that this tree, which you can very clearly see on Google Earth, and I'm saying that it would not be that difficult to bring in a vehicle to do this, because that certainly was not done by a 16-year-old child, and it would not have been done by a random lumberjack or a tree surgeon, unless they were paid a lot of money to do that, because they would have known it would be illegal. So they could have done it. I mean, you can always buy people to do these things, but no one would do it for free in the middle of the night. It's a dangerous job. Felling trees is dangerous. Trees can fall in the wrong direction unless you really know what you're doing. In particular, normally people would work with backup. They wouldn't go there on their own. So I'm guessing that maybe on this road, whichever road it is, I don't know. I don't know nothing. I hardly know anything about Northumberland at all. I know it's a beautiful part of the country. But, you know, could it be that, for example, a vehicle had been put here and then driven here in the night, or there could have been... There's going to be incredibly little traffic in the middle of the night. And what they would have done, what they could have done, was put in a couple of watchmen. You know, the next day there were an enormous number of police there. I mean, all that's happened is somebody has sawn down a tree. Don't get me wrong, it's serious crime because it's a national heritage tree, but it isn't like someone's been murdered. So even though we're in a very remote area, you know, I don't know what the nearest town is, but you know, trying to find it again. Doesn't really matter. You've seen it already. The bottom line is that it was cut down by... It was a professional job. It was done with permission, and I do not believe that a vandal would have done it. I don't believe anyone in TikTok would do it either, because, you know, if you know, TikTok would ban illegal content such as that. So there wouldn't be much point. You wouldn't be monetizing it, getting views. You know, people do a lot of stupid things. I'm not denying it, but it's a kind of, it's like they're looking for things to do to sort of degrade us and demoralize us. Another couple of examples were the Crooked House in the West Midlands, and another pub which was a bit wonky with Tudor beams, also was set on fire a day or two ago. So I'm saying this is all part of a demoralisation process. Why they do it, I don't know. I wish I knew the answer. I don't understand why people behave like this. But the problem is the vast majority of the public don't even realise it's a possibility. They don't even realise it's a possibility that the government could do this. They could do it. I'm not saying I'm saying they did it, but they could do it. They could do it, right? They could do it. They've done much worse in the past, right? So, you know, I mean, when you think about all the wars the government have deliberately started and all the people the government have deliberately killed, then come on, cutting down a tree. I mean, how many trees were cut down for HS2, for God's sake? Trees are cut down all the time, sometimes with good reason and sometimes without good reason. So trees do get cut down, and in fact we have to cut down trees, because if we didn't cut down trees, eventually our whole country would become a forest. There'd be no farmland, and the trees would take over and destroy property. So we do have to manage, because we are on this planet, for the time being at least, we do have to manage trees, and from time to time trees do need to be cut down. But if you looked at that tree, you could see it was very healthy. So that tree was not removed for safety reasons. It was not removed for safety reasons. It was cut down as an act of vandalism. The question you need to ask yourself is, who was behind the vandalism? The government or a random individual? Now, one guy on my channel yesterday put this comment on. He said, I did a thing called Calling All Tree Surgeons. And it says, I'm not a tree surgeon. I did some work with chainsaws. This is definitely not being done by a manual tool, but by a machine, like a Harvester 590F or bigger. The one that can cut and move a tree in a moment. I do not think there is a lot of them around in the UK. So if police really want to find out who's done it, it'd be an easy task. The main thing in such an investigation, do not uncover the fellow officers sit next to you. Cheers. So this guy has got it. He understands what's going on. He's not a fool. A lot of people have got cognitive dissonance, which means that they can't see things that should be obvious. Right? Any professional tree surgeon, I didn't even get one like for this video. I mean, it's only got how many views? Probably not. 14 views and no likes. Right? So do you honestly believe this tree was cut down by a person with a chainsaw in the middle of the night? The answer is no. They get all the police tape in, they get the guys with the yellow jackets and wearing the face masks. Why do you need to wear a face mask in Hadrian's Wall? Are they worried about viruses? Come on, we're being had, right? The police are investigating crimes that they themselves committed.